Hey everyone, we had the Basecamp Power and Speed FTP attack intervals today, and this is the second time we've done this workout. Today, some of you had the extension, so you had the fourth interval, and I'm going to pull up Jess's file for today. She joined the evening workout, and I'm choosing Jess because last time she did the workout in the morning, joined the evening ride just to do her endurance extension, and was awesome. Helped kind of helping us coach and just motivating the crew because it's hard to coach these when you're doing the intervals, believe it or not. But today, when I asked if she came to do the same thing, she said, no, I'm actually just going to ride endurance because my allergies are flaring up and she wasn't feeling super great. But um, as you might guess, just by looking at her numbers here, she decided to give it a go because once we got through the warm up and the extended endurance part in the beginning of the workout, she was like, hey, I feel pretty good. It is so much easier, I think. And I've heard a lot of you say it's a lot easier to get these workouts done with the energy of the group doing it with you. So Jess ended up riding an hour 32 minutes, intensity factor of 0.87. Of course, she had some endurance time in there. That's why the intensity factor is lower than the planned of 0.98. But let's just see the workout. So I did write down some numbers from when we did this last time. And for our targeting purposes, you can see Jess is a super strong rider. She's at the top of her zone for the 4-minute FTP parts of the intervals. But she actually hit the top end on the first 40-second bit of the first interval. But for the rest of the 40-second efforts, she was just kind of mid-range. That is still really good. The thing is with these 40-second efforts, whatever your max is max enough. And if you did this workout last time, we suggested you go back, look at your 40-second average power for your best 40-second intervals from last time and use that as a starting point for today. So just ignoring that 40-second target that was on the screen, you can still get the full intention of the workout doing it. So how we did it was obviously incline mode. We wanted to make your own power today. We suggested starting the first FTP effort, the 4 minutes, just at target. But if we said if you got 2 minutes in and it felt easy, okay to add a couple watts. Jess was at the top end of her FTP for all 3 of these intervals. She actually did her 4th one in the workout too, but I'm going to ignore that one right now. So you can see with the blue lines, she felt pretty good. And Jess, she did the same thing last time. She actually averaged a little bit higher watts today across the intervals, and she did a 4th interval today. So she had a good idea of what her starting target was and what she would be able to hold. What we didn't want you to do was get too ambitious if that first 4-minute FTP interval felt really good, go way over target, hammer out the 40-second efforts in the first interval, and then fall apart on intervals 2, 3, and 4 if you had a 4th. But as you can see, she nailed it. I mean, she was very controlled. That line is super steady in her FTP effort. Even all her 40-second efforts. I'm just going to hide the workout now because you know what we did. You can see the power lines for her 40-second efforts. She didn't really lose that much across each interval. So if I were to actually just drag my cursor over and select the whole 8-minute interval. So it's 8 minutes, including the 20-second recoveries, right? 750, close enough. She actually had a normalized power of 233. So that's taking into account that whole interval, including the recoveries. Now, her FTP is 214. And ideally, if we want to raise our FTP with these sorts of efforts, they're 8 minutes long. We want to be a little bit above our threshold. So in this cycle, we are working on raising your FTP by pushing it up from below and also pulling it up from above. So when we pull it up from above, our intervals are shorter, so 8 minutes here, but they're harder, so they're done over threshold. Now, you could do 8 minutes at 5% over your threshold and get a result. These were a little bit more dynamic because they, again, have another purpose of working your anaerobic capacity, involving some max aerobic stimulus, the neuromuscular component. So there's a few other benefits to doing these dynamic style intervals, but the overall result, we're still looking for the power, that normalized power, to be over 105% of your FTP, so 5% over. And so for her, our target would then be to have a power of 224. And she actually, her average was 222 and her normalized was 233. So that's really good. If we look at the second one, I can just look at it. It looks a little bit lower, but not a ton. You can still see she executed it really well. So her average power here was 216 and her normalized was 226. Now the average power is obviously lower because it has those 20-second recoveries in there, but the normalized power is a little bit more reflective of the physiological cost of that effort because of those super high, supra threshold 40-second surges. What that says is it basically effectively was like she held 226 watts for that 8 minutes, or she could. So then we see it, they slowly decline a little bit. Her next one was 223, and then she did her fourth one here. Again, this was kind of that bonus interval, right? Because last time she only did 3, today she did 4, and her last one was 218. So still pretty close, definitely worth doing. I would say if she did this again, in a few weeks, she would absolutely be able to do these 4 intervals and probably do them at a higher average power. That's what happened if we compare this time versus 2 weeks ago when we did it. Her average power for each interval was higher for the first 3 today than it was 2 weeks ago. So progress. That's super strong, especially if she didn't think she was going to do the workout today. So I kind of wanted to just show that even if you're not feeling it going into the workout, especially at the end of the day, allergies, whatnot, you never know until you try. The power of focus and just being like mentally in it. She's also probably not sick, right? So if you're sick, that's a different story. So let's look at her cadence. She doesn't have heart rate on here. I still chose to review her file. If she had heart rate, we would probably see little dips in the 20-second recoveries, obviously dips in the 5-minute recoveries between intervals. I would anticipate with her fitness, her heart rate was going up as it should, remained elevated for the 8-minute effort, slowly increasing, but then dropped off during the recoveries. Let's see, I'm gonna hide powers just so we can look at cadence. So generally, we have been working on making the higher watts with higher cadence. That seems like people are getting the hang of that pretty well, I think. Today, we said do what you need to do. If you need to stand some, if you need to drop your cadence towards the end, whatever, like we wanted you to go max towards the end of those 40-second efforts. And you can kind of see that she played around with it. Her cadence was a little bit lower. Maybe she stood a little bit more in that first set of 40-20s, and her cadence got higher in the second one. Still used high cadence in that third, and then she kind of experimented on the fourth. Whatever it takes, sitting, standing, high cadence, low cadence, you have been developing your toolbox. When it's time to go hard, you just do what you need to do. In the context of the workout, we still want you to complete the workout. We don't want you to go solo cadence and, stand the whole time for the first interval and just go crazy and not be able to do the rest of the intervals, but feel it out. So when you do a time trial or 20-minute test, when we do those longer efforts coming up, you have the ability to make power in different ways. And that's something that it seems like all of you have gotten much better at over the last 15, 16 weeks. So that's awesome to see. And again, I don't have heart rate to show here, so I'm just going to stop it there. But really great workout, I think. It was also a good workout to do heading into the time trial this weekend. Thursday, we have, again, our more moderate effort. It's a little bit harder this week because it's sweet spot. But use today's workout. Now you might have some more confidence in what you can do and how long you can hold power, how different ways you can make the power. So use those skills and new confidence as you head into the time trial this Saturday. All right, we'll see you Thursday.